All right, right now we're working on the second head that we're going to use for parts. As if you can see here, this one is pretty banged up in the combustion chamber. Something come apart in there. And we needed a spare head for these angle pieces anyway. So right now I'm taking it apart. If you watched the other video, you saw me struggling with that C-clamp style spring compressor. I finally found my old school one. I haven't used this thing in many years, but on these Volkswagens, this thing actually works really well. There we go. These 3-groove keepers are a little tricky to get out of there. And when you put them on with wheel bearing grease, it doesn't help either. But I'll just stick all this stuff in a bag, the valves, keeper, spring, in case I ever need it for anything else. But we'll be cutting this head apart, so it'll never be used again as a head. Well, it is a good thing that this is not the head I was going to cut apart and use. Because I was going to just strip this down, took the valves out, was going to pull these rocker arm studs, pull the exhaust studs. You can see how the exhaust studs went. I cannot get those to budge. And I just gave up on the rest of the studs. They will not come out. Impact, double nut, heat, you name it, I tried it, they won't budge. So it'll just have to go to the recyclers with a little bit of steel in it and they can figure it out. But we still need to cut off the piece here that we need. According to the plans, which is basically just pictures, doesn't have measurements that I can make sense out of to how to do this, is pretty much right after the curve there. So I'm going to cut it right along the edge of this boss there. And same over here, get them about the same, and then I'll sand them down to where they are the same. And then true them up when I go to weld them on there, so they'll be, more or less the same size on each side. But since I'm cutting the valve covers down to fit, I'll make it fit however it comes out. Want to get it as close as possible. But yeah, I'm just going to slice it like this, then I'll flip the piece over and slice off the part that I want to save. Another small change of plans. I was wanting to use the fence to kind of guide this, so I think I'm going to lay this up against the fence and cut right along here and just leave the top. Then I can slice through just the top pieces. I think that will be easier, but that was another reason I wanted to get the studs out so I'm not hitting steel with my bandsaw blade. But I think I should be able to go right between everything and cut that off. Well, we'll find out. And yet another change. I wanted to use that to guide that through there, but bandsaw's not tall enough. We're going to go back to plan A and just slice the 2 ends off, then we'll cut off the extra. Well, that could definitely have been more fun. I think by the time I was done, I was on like plan D. I don't know if you could tell what I did there, but when I went to cutting through that, I was worried about cutting through that, because my blade on that bandsaw is not anything special. It's good on aluminum, and it cut through the bronze valve guides just fine. One thing it did not cut through, and I completely forgot about it, was the hardened valve seats. Tried cutting through one of them, it stopped. Had to change blades. Old blade was about done anyway, so not a problem. But then, I was either going to have to knock the valve seats out or cut it a different way. So I ended up cutting the ends off the fins that they're on plan B or whatever was in the way, you know, to stand the head up vertically. Cut those fins off, then I could stand it up, chop these off like this, and then cut them like this. Took a little time, did some more grinding on these, got them pretty much down to where, clean them up a little more and start welding. But I ground the extra fin material off the outside. Don't grind these off, because that's where your latch will go for your valve cover. Just used a belt sander, cutting that down. Used a burr, just knocked down that area there where the valve guide was. And basically, when these are done, all of those holes in that piece will be filled up. Because you obviously don't need this extra push rod tube hole, the hole here that was originally for one of the head studs, and then the valve guide area. So you'll fill that up completely with weld, and you'll weld it onto the side. You will need to face an area here and drill a hole because you've lost your rocker arm is supported in two places on the head. You've only got one place now. You've only got one place now running these two rockers, so you need something to support the rocker arm shaft. So you come out with a little piece of aluminum angle bolted to the end and then bolted to the bottom of this. And we'll keep the rocker arm assembly from pivoting around. So that's all for this video. Next video, we'll start welding, getting these filled in and onto the head. We also need to cut out an area here. No, I take that back. We need to fill in this area, and then coming out this direction will be a pipe that hooks to the intake. Of course, we'll belt sand this down a little bit and get it flattened out. Ready to weld. Still lots of work to do, but one more step. Well, until next video, thanks for watching.